Hello, and welcome back to some more Hollow Knight. So, now that we've tied up most of the loose ends, it's time to begin perhaps the most enjoyable side quest in the game, flower delivery. However, there is something that I note that I missed Glowing Womb. I also realized I didn't kill Phil Champion, so this means I get to do the flower quest while trying to do those two, and there's a good chance that I'm going to mess up the flower delivery doing so. But we're going to see how this goes, which is to say, probably not very well. Yes, a very, very sad story with Grave Mourner, and we will have to bring our one-of-a-kind rare flower that she has thousands, if not millions of. This is a side quest that you generally are going to hold off until the very end, just because it is rather more annoying than actually difficult. You have multiple ways that you can get to the grave in Queen's Garden, but realistically you're going to need at least acid resistance to be able to get into Queen's Garden, given all the stipulations, because it's either acid resistance, shade cloak, or doing the Queen's Garden acid skip. And there's two real ways to go in once you've got it set up to do the flower quest. I'm going to go through the crossroads and do the flower delivery. Let's see. Go through the crossroads to do Fog Canyon, but if I wanted to, I could go down through the elevator to the City of Tears, and then from there, I'd go through the Moss Prophet's room from Fungal Wastes. Considering I need to pick up two things in the crossroads, taking the tram is probably my best bet. And from there, I can then get Glowing Womb and Failed Champion. Plus, if I mess up, I can just Dreamgate back. At least I think I said a Dreamgate. It's pretty late at night, so this may not go as well as I would hope. Now, if you're doing your flower quest for the first time and you want to make it as easy as possible, what you can do is set a Dreamgate right outside Grave Mourner's house, and then without resting at a bench, kill every big enemy along the way. Ones that don't respawn unless you rest at a bench. So that way, you have it to where you don't have to worry about it. You'll only need to kill things that respawn if you re-enter a room. Oh jeez. I almost thought that was going to get me. And of course, any kind of thing that helps keep range, like Grubberfly's Elegy is a pretty good one if you've got it, just because you can not only keep range attacks, but it stays as long as you're at full health, and you can't be hit anyway. So you might as well use something that makes your life a little bit easier. Also, these are very annoying to fight, just because those smaller guys particularly make your life so much more difficult. Oh goodness, I almost thought that one was going to get me. Like, you can always have the thing where if they fall on you and spawn it, that will get you hit as well. So the last thing you want is to put yourself in a position where you're going to get hit. Now as well, you kind of want to try and take this slow and easy so that you don't find yourself in a bad position. Unfortunately, I don't remember where all the things are like in Fog Canyon, so I always kind of take it slow and easy there, just so that I can avoid doing something stupid. Of course, Phil Champion is one of those that, if you come in with a lot of upgrades, he's going to be really easy to do because of the stagger points. Like Lost Kenny doesn't actually do much. And you can cheese him like that. Oh crap. Didn't quite do that dodge right. Well, it hardly matters now. Of course, if you also use the Rubble, that does like 10 damage. So if you don't have the means to do like Shade Soul or such, then... oh well. That was a lot quicker than I thought it'd be. And of course, foolishly messing up Failed Champion. So there's a couple of other things with Failed Champion that can make it easier. Like, since I had Dream Wielder, every time he jumps and you dash under him, you have enough time to do a Dream Nail Swing, which will give you enough soul for 2 spells. You can also use that same thing to be able to cast Abyss Shriek once you get in a safe spot. It's the same thing with, like, doing... What is it? The cheese strat, where you just keep going back and around. I'm sorry, Great Mourner. Failed Champion tricked me. Fortunately, she has another one-of-a-kind flower. Her faith is all seriously challenged by my mistakes. Besides, it was a dream fight. You can't really hurt a flower in your dream world. It doesn't work like that. I find the metaphysics of Delicate Flower Garden to be highly suspect. So if you were going to take the Moss Prophet way, that would be the way that you want to go down. I mean, you can technically go into Fungal Waste however you want. But nonetheless, if you're going to do it by going through... Oh, our boy Quirrel. Our final meeting with him. I'm not sure the Delicate Flower will be held together because this one's going to hit you right in the feels for plenty of damage. Poor Quirrel. And let's just sit and appreciate the moment with our boy Quirrel, because we'll never see him again. That's enough reminiscing. But unfortunately, now that we've left Quirrel there, it might look like he's left to an uncertain fate. However, Mila came along, gave him some concrete shoes, and pushed him into Blue Lake. Now you might think that that would be the end of poor Quirrel. However, Quirrel is actually a bunch of Umas and a bug suit. So, that's why he's also helping us with Umu in Godhome. There we go. So, always try to be cautious with everything that you have to do here. And if you're uncertain as to whether or not you're safe to make an attack on them, always just use Shade Soul, if you can. Like, it's great if you can save Shade Soul for these Vengeflies. Especially the later ones. Once you get into Fog Canyon, though, you want to be very cautious. See, like, with Shade Soul and Shaman Stone, those aren't going to do much. And of course, you could always just use grubber flies or however you want to do it. But just slow and steady. Now, if I had done Failed Champion hitless with that and not done Foolishness, I could have just came out the same way over here. So, be careful with these guys, of course, because of the small little bugs. The last thing you want to do is have one of them spawn on you, destroy your flower, and make you have to redo things. So this is the fun part, because I never remember where these small guys spawn. So, I try to always take it as slow and easy as possible. But of course, make sure you don't hit the big Uma, because otherwise you're gonna regret it. This will turn into something like out of Michael Bay films, and then things will be very bad, because it's gonna be hard to avoid Umas when they're coming right at you. Also, don't Shade Soul here, because you're probably going to hit those Umas, and then you're going to regret it. And don't bring pets to Fog Canyon. You will definitely regret that. Well, the flower and pets and Fog Canyon don't mix. Those are a terrible combination, and you'll regret it. So yeah, if you come in this way, you can either open up the way from the overgrown mound, or you could open up the Moss Prophet's way. And like, if you're really trying to do this without acid resistance, then that would probably be your best bet after doing the Queen's Garden acid skip. I mean, there's some benefit of doing it early, I suppose, so that you don't have to really worry about it. But you probably are better off waiting. And as you can see, Shaman Stone, Shade Soul, it's going to solve all your problems with it. Those little guys don't use their spines after you kill them, if you do it this way, with Shade Soul. And you get to have the luxury of just kind of taking it all out in one go. And always make sure on that last part you don't mess it up, because it's going to be awfully depressing if you have to go back. Actually, wait. I need to do Traitor Lord, so this seems like a good opportunity to do that before I go back and get the last Mask Shard. So that's a delicate flower quest, other than going back to Grey Mourner to basically get a Mask Shard. It is helpful to not do more detours than necessary, because, as you can see, you're just going to make things worse with trying to keep that flower intact. As long as you do it slow and steady, you shouldn't have any problems. And you can always try again, you can always just clear as much of the way as possible. Oh goodness. Almost did that completely wrong. And now, this is where Cloth will help us. The legend of Cloth the Mighty is born. Cloth, you're a lifesaver. If it wasn't for Cloth, I would not have been able to beat that Mantis. So plenty of ways that you can do this. You can always descend in dark when he ends his attack. And of course, Also, don't get too far away or he uses red discs. But I mean, you can use any kind of ability that you want. See, cloth did all the work. I just kind of loosened it like the pickle jar. And thus her legend is born. I will come back to talk to her after the White Lady. So White Lady has a variety of dialogue depending on what kind of charms you bring here. She'll react to like Defender's Crest, Grimchild, King's Soul, I think, and Void Heart. Most importantly, she gives you the first half of the King's Soul. Although, it's more accurate to say she gives you half of the King's Soul, because you can go and do the White Palace first if you really want to. But I think it's probably easier to just kind of come here as soon as you've got the Shade Cloak. And she says a lot of things. Maybe not all of them are believable. Alright, Cloth, the mighty. I don't know. You're kind of dead, so I don't think we can meet again. Also, it would be a very cruel thing to dream nail Cloth. Don't do it. That's illegal in most countries, and you'll be prosecuted to the fullest extent of the law. And that should be all the mask shards. So, Flower Quest is usually your last one, unless you really tackle it earlier. And as long as you've opened up the way in Queen's Garden, the shortcuts and so forth, it really isn't that bad. It's just play cautiously, don't do anything stupid, and you'll be fine. And now, we have to do some White Palace stuff. It helps to set Dreamgater remember that as soon as you get the King's Soul, make sure you equipped it. I think there's been 1 or 2 times in which I've gone down into the abyss without it, realized what I did, and then had to restart it. So yeah, Descendant Dark is the answer to everything when it comes to King's molds. And not a whole lot with the White Palace. There's quite a bit of it that it's just going to, if you know the skips, it'll be a lot easier, a lot quicker. The thing is, if you don't know the skips or don't do them, for some parts, you can be in for a world of hurt. Also, I'm trying not to take it that much longer, so I will be using as many skips as possible, including the entire Path of Pain skip where I don't do it at all. Because I get a sneaking suspicion with it being 2 AM, it won't be anything remotely hitless. And rather than have this video drag out, particularly since Path of Pain doesn't award completion percentage, there's less reason to actually do it unless you're really trying to fill out the Hunter's Journal or trying to just do various challenges. It's great to do it once so that you can have actually beaten it, but it's not anything that you really must do. And if it's not your cup of tea, there's no reason to do it. So at the White Palace, one of the big things to note is most of it's going to be platforming. Like those two King's Moles I fought, that's the extent if you're not doing the Path of Pain for all the combat that you're needed. And you can always just descend and dark them for easy victories. So if you do stuff like Hive Blood or Deep Focus and Grub Song, you can do the platform and really, you can survive for quite a while. And I think with Grubberfly's Elegy and Grub Song and Deep Focus, you basically are immortal. So you get a couple of skips in the White Palace, as you can see, that can help you speed up your run. And after all, doing any of them, anything that shaves off some time and difficulty is always a nice thing. Because there are some... the spear tunnel, I think, is the one that's really frustrating if it's your first time and you don't know the skip for it. Oh, cool. Not quite right. Oh, jeez. Never quite remember where the saw blades go in this room. But I think I actually got through there pretty well. Alright, so this skip's a little more spicy, and I tend to mess this up a bit. Oh, jeez. You have to get the jump just right. I think you probably have to pogo as well. I'm not doing it all that right. Sometimes I get it, like, first try, and then other times I just do it all wrong. There we go. This was one of those times in which I just do it all wrong. But you get to skip the entire room if you do it right. Which is always a plus. So as well, whichever you want to do, you get quite a few soul statues. Now that guy, you might think that I killed him intentionally, and you're right, but it's because he was traitorous. He had a sleazy mustache and you couldn't see it before Descend in Dark ended him. But that's also another shortcut to be able to do things. Now if you wanted to do Path of Pain, this would be the way you'd go. But we are not doing the Path of Pain. Not this time. Because I'll probably be doing it for something else at some point. So again, a nice little skip can be to do that. And if you mess up, you can just spam your crystal heart button to slow your fall. Or slow your slide, I suppose, is more accurate. Another skip by just using that. Pogo up there. And then you just pogo up that way. Another room that you can just more or less skip entirely. However, don't mess up with doing that destructible thing, because otherwise I think you have to leave the room to make it respawn. And backtracking will be annoying. Jeez. I didn't even aim that right. Note to self, aiming at 2 a.m. sucks. I think you want to use this line, though. But that's your mark for... And then stop right before the end. Otherwise, you'll probably hit that saw blade. So, another useful skip. Because, yeah, that spear tunnel up there, it sucks. And so we're actually near the end at this point. It's not all that long if you know the skips and know what you're doing. So you have two ways you can do this. You can basically go like that. Or if you wanted, you could just go up that way instead. Oh, couldn't do it right. Needless to say, messed it up again. Some of these skips I can do decently, but not consistently. And it takes a little practice. Oh, I almost had it. That one doesn't save too much time, but you do get out of a spear tunnel. Alright, one more try. If I don't do it right, then I'm gonna move on. Yeah, I'm moving on. You just come over here, and then just wait for the spears to go. And I mean, you can either crystal dash, or just dash through there and pogo the spikes. So at this point, you've reached the end. There's a secret room below if you want lore, which implies a number of things about the collectors and the king's molds. And there's few other secret rooms scattered throughout the place. Of which I only remember a few of them. I remember that there's like another room in the general area. I mean, to the right, there is another one as well. But my 2 a.m. self is only remembering the bare basics of like the skips for the actual gameplay. Alright, yeah. Also, no cost too great. And the Pale King left a mannequin of himself because he just went out for a drink. Sit on the throne and you'll get some nice music. And then you can take your reward, the King's Soul. Which, because there's super glue on those broken pieces, they just fit right together and stick together. And now we have to go back to where it all began. The Abyss. So make sure you equip King's Soul, because otherwise it will not be fun to have to backtrack. And at this point, if you had it to where, for instance, you didn't get Lifeblood Core yet, or you didn't get the vessel fragment from the fountain in Ancient Basin, now would be your time to do so. There's also the thing that I still have a bunch of relics that I never redeemed for Geo, because I really didn't need them. But if you needed to, this would also... You probably have also tried to exchange it for Geo around this time. Like, if you care about the unbreakable charms, then you'd want to redeem pretty much every relic that you could. And so that you just get a bunch of siblings in here to bother you. It's coming down this way. If you care about relics, this gives you the 4th and final arcane egg. Which is pretty useful if you're going to go for those unbreakables, but at this point in the game you probably have just about everything. Alright, final shade gate. And then you just dream nail your little black egg thing, mini black egg. And then you get to see all the past. As you climb out of the abyss, the Hollow Knight is like, then you're like, brother, help me. And then he's all like, long live the king, and kicks you back into the abyss. And then you get locked in the abyss without any kind of explanation as to how you escape. But that's probably because, while there is a very powerfully sealed door requiring the King's Brand on this exit, there's probably just like a flimsy screen door at another section of the abyss that we just don't see. It's actually, this is a really fun moment in the game, just with music and everything. Even though you're just getting out of the abyss. You can't even Dreamgate out. Of course, the legends say that all those corpses being kicked in by the Pale King are every player that dies. You should see what at the time that he dumps it after people are doing modded bosses, especially me. It's just like non-stop raining. And now, the Void acts like super glue on the broken King's Soul, and now we've got the Void Heart. And for those who say that organs can't be void, particularly in relation to Silksong, see, now they just don't even care. I would point you to the Void Heart. Clearly, that's an organ, and not just a charm. Also, you probably shouldn't believe me on that point, but whatever. As well, now if you die with the Void Heart charm, your shade will also not do anything and let you just kill it in one hit. So now that we're out of the abyss, the next thing would be to go to Godhome. Because now, I don't have anything else. The Black Egg is not really going to be what I do. Especially since I'm going to go for the Embrace the Void ending. Oh, that's right. Now is a good time to use some Fragile Strength. Because especially in Godhome, the bosses have more health than their normal values. So anything that gives you more damage is going to be incredibly useful. So you can come here and use Dung Defender's room as a way in. And this will get you close to Flukmarm's area, which will put you near Godhome. So just make sure you have a simple key so you can unlock her little sarcophagus. And then... and then you'll be able to make your way into Godhome. You can take as much time to get through the Pantheons as needed. It really isn't anything to be too worried about. However, it's something that you're going to be doing endurance matches, particularly with the 5th and final Pantheon. So making sure that you have whatever kind of charm sets, all your upgrades, anything that gives you an edge, that'll help enormously. So if you killed the Nailsmith, he would be right here for a nice little reunion. And of course, you can come here at any point to just pick up the God Tuner. It doesn't really matter as to when. But since you have to kill X number of bosses to be able to unlock them to open a Pantheon, there's really not too much reason to come to Godhome early. Now Godseeker gets all angry because we're trespassing. Of course, I feel like this is where, if the knight could talk, it would be something sarcastic like, "You and what army?" At which point, Godseeker would point out that they do effectively have an army. Only to make you regret coming in here. Alright, so from here, there's only Godhome. So at this point, I will be, next time, just going through the Pantheons as quickly as I am capable of, which is to say, not very quick. However, that will wrap it up then. So, thank you for watching, stay safe, stay healthy, until next time.